What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the final showdown breakdown of the 2024 NFL season. Super Bowl 59. Chiefs at the Eagles. And I got Bobbywow, a.k.a. Bobby Millions, a.k.a. Bobby 2 times. Got to get the millions, here to break it all down one last time. Bobby, how do you feel about the Super Bowl matchup? Chiefs, Eagles for all the monies.
I would agree with most people in saying that these are probably the two teams I didn't want to see in the Super Bowl of everyone else. But I do think that, that feeling aside, it's a really fun matchup, and we should see a really competitive game with these two teams on Sunday. So I do think the DFS and the betting side of it is really, really fun and unique, and I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely. I love the Super Bowl. Of course, we're all making plans, food and parties and all this stuff. But the best part of it is the bets and the DFS and trying to take down one last big tournament. I won the Super Bowl showdown a couple of years ago, the big one.
People forget.
Yeah.
But
I had $1 million win in one, but I had to split it with a lot of people. So it didn't quite deliver on all the sexiness, but this match was really interesting. And we were just talking before we went live, and I want to bring that into the conversation. Do you see this game playing high scoring, low scoring? How do you see it going? I think we're maybe, I'm not sure if we're even on the same page, but how do you see that? What do you see in terms of game flow here?
Look, I think on paper, just objectively thinking out loud, this game should be, more of a defensive matchup, right? You got the top two defenses, or, two of the top defenses in the league matching up here. Chiefs, elite against the run. Eagles have been great all season, all around. I do think the defenses are maybe the scariest part of this matchup here. But I will say, for what it's worth, it just feels like these two quarterbacks are like the lid's going to come off here. And we're going to see some scoring from Mahomes, and we're going to see some scoring from Hurts. So my gut lean is toward the over, but I'd love to hear from you. I think some of the stats maybe back up the under.
Yeah, I'm a little bit on the other side of this one. I want to believe in overs a Super Bowl, right? Like, it's the big game. Who wants to think anything other than a points explosion? So I want that to be the way I look at it. And actually, some of our models are definitely pointing to some overs in certain areas in terms of like passing yards for these quarterbacks. So that is definitely looking to the over, but there's reason for it. I think overall, though, listen, it's been 2 weeks since these teams have played. Everybody's a little tight, but nervous. There's a little bit of nerves. And so I kind of think that this game will get off to a slow start. So my prediction is we get off to a slow start. Even the entire first half, defensive battle. Remember, we're talking about two teams that really got here with their defense this year, not their offense. Like, neither one of these teams was prolific scoring offenses throughout the season, and that's how I'm looking at it. Like, KC wants to keep the game close and win it late, which is probably what they'll do. And the Eagles, what's the strength of this team has not been throwing it at all. They only throw to 2 guys. The strength of the team has been the running game, Jalen Hurts pushing it in the end zone, and them playing great defense all season. So, but by the way, on that same note, polar opposite teams in terms of the turd situations for both of these teams, Bobbywow.
Yes, I would agree.
The Eagles are almost the least turdly team in the entire National Football League. There are no turds. Jahan Dotson, who's the WR3, has a prop of 1 reception.
I think I wrote it up in the previous round of the playoffs. It's impossible to do what Dotson is doing. The amount of snaps he's playing versus the amount of targets, the amount of action he's seeing is incomprehensibly low. He's like, if you got NBA fans in the chat, it's like the Tony Snell of the NFL. It's just crazy. He's not involved.
It's bizarre. He's the but But I did say this on the betting show that we did, which, by the way, I put the link in the description if you want to talk about some prop bets. I did a show with Keith. It's really great. Link in the description on props. But I talk about this. If you're going to bet on Jahan Dotson, you shouldn't bet 1 reception or over 7 yards. It should be over 50 yards and a touchdown. Like, if you're going to bet it, take the plus 1,500 spot and bet that, by the way. That you can get a ton of juice in, over 50 yards. Because if he catches one, it's 1 catch for a touchdown. He's Deshaun Jackson.
His case is so unique to me because he's actually, he's shown to be, at times, a really good player. He's got speed. He's explosive. So yeah, if you're going to bet him, I fully agree with you. That's a great take.
Bet the big touch. Don't take the 50-50 spot. You take the plus the 10-1 spot. Assume you're going to lose it, but if you win it, that's an awesome way to attack the Super Bowl. But yeah, polar opposite. No turds on the Eagles. As a matter of fact, the one turd that displayed himself on the Eagles was because of the blowout and where they brought in Will Shipley when Gainwell got banged up. Yep. This is the Super Bowl, guys. It's going to be Saquon Barkley every single play. No, they're not going to do anything else.
I do think with that situation, there might be reason to build a little bit with Shipley still, because Gainwell still is kind of he's still kind of limited in practice with that concussion. I don't know. I think there's, in silly for the Millie lineups, there is some reason to maybe roster Shipley in a couple of them, because I do think there's some concern about Gainwell being fully healthy and playing here.
I don't even care about Gainwell. This is the Super Bowl. Why are you resting your super stud player for next week? There's no reason to not play him every single play, except if he gets hurt. So there is the injury, exception. Well, I'll make the injury exception, but I don't have a scenario. If you're the Eagles, you're not resting Barkley during this game. You're playing him every single snap. They've done it all year anyway. He's been an 86% snap count guy. It goes to 100 on a game like this. I'm not even worried.
You think he won't be taken off the field at all?
Yeah, he will for the rest, for the 1 snap rest situation. And sure, if a player, I've seen Samaje Perine pull one of these.
Yes.
Back when it was when he was on the Bengals, and it was like they're resting Mixon for a play, and he just catches a little check down, boom, touchdown, nuts, right? It can happen, but I'm not, you account for that in the most minuscule of ways in my mind. I think he's much more likely that I don't even think it's going to be him. I think it'll be Gainwell anyway. I think Gainwell will be fine. It's the Super Bowl. I think it was a concussion. When you're going to come back from that.
I would agree. And really the most concerning part of Shipley is his salary is $2,400. So he's not even in play as a turd. He's no great price.
Ridiculous. Yeah. And Steven's got it right. I would do this. If you're trying to win $1 million, you can play for the injury. That's perfectly acceptable. Your odds of winning $1 million in the big DraftKings contest are much lower than the odds of somebody getting hurt on the second, third, fourth play / first quarter, like a Barkley getting hurt. That is within the realm of shit that could happen. And it's got a more than 5 to 10% chance of actually in real life happening. So yeah, you could play for that. But I'm going to get so much hate in the comments. You told me to play. I never think these guys are going to get hurt. I'm saying sometimes they get hurt. But that's the only reason you would do that. I don't think there's a version of the game where the Eagles are just let's lean heavy on Will Shipley in the Super Bowl. Who the fuck is that guy? I haven't even heard of him before last week. Literally, the first time I ever heard his name was 2 weeks ago. Ever. And I'm the fantasy football geek. I know all the names. I never heard that name before last week. I was like, who's this guy? You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Not many turds on the Eagles. Bobbywow, lots of turds on the Chiefs, though.
Turd City, man.
Turds everywhere. You don't even know who's not a turd on that team. And by turds, by the way, your first time in tuning into the Showdown breakdown, guys. If this is the first time, I don't know what the hell you've been doing all year. We've been here all year. But we're talking about players that are that get a low snap count, that are cheap, that win you showdowns more often than not. You got to guess the right one. Your WR 3s and 4s. The Chiefs roll out something like 5 or 6 wide receivers. So it's a little more challenging, and their running back group is not consistent.
Right.
Chiefs are a very difficult showdown team. So let's get into it a little bit here. on the Chiefs side. Let's look at this group of wide receivers. Let me set up the Dom station so we can use this as our measuring stick. And you can see the ownership projections. So let's take a look at the Chiefs wide receiver group first of all. Worthy is clear cut. Let me get off let's go to flex. Is clearly the best in breed. He projects the best of them by far, but he's also the most expensive.
Yeah, I mean, he clearly has found a groove. Even back toward the end of the regular season, him and Mahomes found it. They were hitting on all cylinders. So no doubt about it, Worthy is the guy.
Yeah, trying to think if anybody in this zone here. Yeah, all right. So no one else. So yeah, Worthy, and then the next highest snap count guy has been Hollywood Brown since his return, and I really like the price point here for Hollywood Brown.
I love it. Yeah, I think Brown is one of my favorite plays on the slate on DraftKings.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. So after that, the interesting thing that's been going on with this team, and actually let's do it from a DraftKings point of view so we could look at their game logs here. But after that, let me go to Chiefs only, and we're looking at the wide receiver group. So Juju Smith-Schuster seems to be the next guy that they're giving a lot of snaps to. And he's been out snapping and out targeting DeAndre Hopkins, who's priced double where Schuster is. Schuster 3 targets in the last game, but the snap count was there. Whereas Hopkins has been the guy that's been losing snaps.
Which is surprising, right? I mean, D-Hop clearly the more talented wide receiver.
It's weird.
Even though he's old, but yeah, it's true. It's happening. Now, I will say Juju's snap count hasn't resulted in a ton of targets, but he is on the field quite a bit.
Yeah. Why are the props projected in yellow, John? Those are not live props. I don't know why this is not showing the live props. I have to look at that. Could be something to do with the Super Bowl. So we'll look at that afterwards, but these are our projections. These are not the props. So I don't know why it's doing that. We'll have to look into it. I'm assuming it's some Super Bowl 2-week stuff, but we'll have that cleaned up here. So we're just using our modeled projections here for now. And like I said, Juju out snapping Hopkins at the moment. And then the last guy that gets some snaps is Justin Watt. What's Nick? All right, let's look at this Nick Remeggio guy because I don't even know who that is.
I don't know that he's actually running routes. He caught a pass in the last week of the season when the Chiefs were resting everybody. Caught a couple passes, it looks like, but that's about it.
He only played in week 18. Yeah, that's not a real thing.
He did play 3 snaps. He did play 3 snaps last week, but again, yeah. Well, I'll have to check this. I want to say more of they were special team snaps and not necessarily like running routes. But
did Hardman get hurt in the last game? Hardman came out of the last game and he's out for this one.
Hardman will not play.
Yeah, that's what's going on here. So with Hardman out, it looks like the next man up appears to be.
It wasn't Hardman out. I think the Chiefs traded for him. They got him back in a trade, and he's not going to be. He might not be eligible. I'm not fully sure why he's playing, but either way, Hardman's out. I think Justin Watson is kind of taking that WR5 role right now.
Yeah, and Watson's out there too, and at $200 is a turd that we have to account for. He certainly gets a target here and there. Let's see what he got. He'll break a slate and then just do nothing. Yeah, he'll break a slate and then do nothing. Somehow he managed 2 fantasy points.
Did he got a rush or something?
That must be a 2-point conversion. I don't know what.
Oh, there you go.
It was a 2-point conversion. How did he get 2 points?
Did he have a rushing attempt?
No.
Nothing. No stats. Wow. Geez. Yeah.
Don't know.
That's wild.
Fell on a football in the end zone. Did I miss something? I don't remember that. But anyway, so yeah, Justin Watson, but they're turds. These guys are all pretty turdly plays outside of Worthy and Brown. It was a 2-pointer. Yeah. I guess, did he fall on it? I guess they don't count the stat of the yardage on a 2-point conversion. Why didn't the yardage count? I don't get that. That's how they score it. But yeah, these are our turd crew. And then, by the way, it doesn't get much better at running back for the Chiefs. So you've got this three-headed monster of Kareem Hunt, Pacheco, and P. Ryan. So let's take a look at what Hunt did. 17 carries, 1 target. Pacheco.
Hunt clearly took over the RB1 role last week, as kind of expected.
There it is. I mean, look at this. Pacheco only 5 carries, 2 targets. Hunt 17 carries.
I mean, Hunt's his prop is currently double Pacheco's for rushing yards.
Yeah. So clearly,
same thing.
The cream has risen to the top. And for whatever reason, he surpassed Pacheco, and that's what they've been doing. I think we have to assume that's going to continue, no?
Absolutely. Yeah. No reason to doubt it. If it's me, I might have more exposure to P. Ryan than I will Pacheco. P. Ryan's kind of this guy that, I mean, he rarely ever catches passes, but he is running routes. Like, he legitimately runs like 6 to 10 routes a game. And, he's out there. So if the Chiefs end up behind or in a 2-minute drill, that's where P. Ryan ends up sneaking up from the turd zone.
I know he's a full-size man, Bobbywow, but in this photograph, he gives me the vibe of like a Lord of the Rings style dwarf.
That's fair.
I think it's the thick beard and something about the smile and the jolliness.
The chest hair coming out.
I'm getting a J.R.R. Tolkien dwarf vibe. Not
in the best way, in the most
positive way you could
possible.
Yes, in the kindest. That's just what came to me when I saw the pictures. Yeah, P. Ryan. I mean, okay, a turd, probably going to get you a 1 or a 2. But needs to be accounted for as well. So basically, we've gone through the basics already of these two teams and their offenses. And it's super straightforward with the Eagles. Now, I want to talk a little bit about matchups in a second, but it's super straightforward with the Eagles. Goddard is out there the whole time at tight end. They throw to Goddard, they throw to Brown, they throw to Smith. That's it. And if a miracle happens, Jahan Dotson catches a single pass. That's it.
Truly
on the flip side, with the Chiefs, turds galore, 4 or 5 viable wide receivers, but we're going to lean Kareem Hunt as our primary running back. You've got 2 tight ends there with Noah Gray and Travis Kelce as well. So just a little more diverse array of players to choose from on the Eagles.
It looks like DraftKings just took all the props down.
Is that what's going on?
That must be why the DS is looking weird.
Yeah. What happened to the props here? They pull them? Like I said, we'll get that cleaned up after. I wish I had it in front of me for this, but it is what it is. So
interesting.
Yeah, that is weird. But let's get into this one. Let's talk captains, Bobbywow. Right?
Good.
Let's get into the meat of the issue here. Now, when I sort our captain exposure tab by ownership, which is the most important thing, what's the ownership at captain? Mahomes is the highest, followed by Saquon Barkley, Xavier Worthy, and then AJ Brown and Hurts. I'll include Kelce in there. So everybody from Kelce, Jalen, Brown, Worthy, Barkley, and Mahomes, that's who your prime, I would call, chalky captains are, a 5-pack of them.
Yep.
Is anybody missing from that group? I see a name or two that's low owned that really interests me here.
But I think Devonta Smith and Hollywood would be
the
guys I'm looking at here.
Yeah.
Especially because they let you fit another stud in your lineup, which is awesome to have in the Super Bowl. So those two guys for me would be. I'm surprised they're not closer to 10%. But hey,
it's weird, right? I would say. I mean, let me compare price with Smith and Brown, but Smith is not really that less of a weapon than Brown. They're kind of the same thing, and you do save a 3,000 by going to Smith over Brown. Hollywood Brown is super cheap.
He's maybe the most intriguing captain option on the slate in tournaments.
One of the more underpriced players overall.
Yep.
And then, of course, the other name is for me, Kareem Hunt. I mean, I don't love the price that much, but it's fine. It's reasonable for the starting running back role that he plays.
Yeah.
At 3%, Kareem?
I don't hate it. I wish he was more involved in the passing game. He'll have like one bump, but yeah, no, he's viable.
Yeah, and there's not too much else here going on below that I feel like I need to account for. I don't think a defense is what you want here at a captain at all. I'm not convinced that a kicker is the right move, although it could be. If it would be Butker.
Yeah, I think if I'm running 150 lineups out there and I'm trying to win $1 million, I think we talked about Hollywood Brown, Devonta Smith. I'd have a ton of shares of them. I think if I was to go turdly here, I'd throw in a couple shares of Juju Smith-Schuster. That guy is basement pricing. You could be able to fit anyone in your lineups, and he's on the field for 60% of the snaps. So look, I know it's a big time dart, but he's sub 1% ownership, and if you're trying to take $1 million down, he's probably the first guy I'm looking at, outside of the realistic zone.
Okay, that's fair.
But it's ugly.
It's gross. It's pretty gross. I mean, I don't know that I want to have to watch the Super Bowl rooting for these turds to put up big scores.
Lineups, have 5 of them. That's what I'm talking about.
Totally reasonable. Let's start at the top here. Mahomes, the highest owned. I mean, I don't get it. I think that Hurts should be priced. I think Hurts should be owned more than Mahomes.
I think Hurts and Barkley should be owned more than Mahomes.
Yeah. I don't love the Mahomes captain play that much.
Your typical fade at quarterback, unless they're a running quarterback, I think is perfectly in play right here. Mahomes is way, way too chalky.
And I don't like it.
Yeah, it's not like his price is amazing. Yeah. He's $600 cheaper than Hurts. Yeah. That's not enough.
No, it's basically Hurts. How does Hurts should get there? Hurts is such a faster path to that score. Now, interestingly, one of the reasons why I like Hurts a little bit even more than usual is because there's a couple defensive metrics here that I think are in play. First of all, the Chiefs had the number 2 run defense in the National Football League all season long. So they're really, really good against the run. They're also good against wideouts. They had a really good overall defense. Their most vulnerable spot was against the tight end this year, which makes me really like Dallas Goedert, period, in this game. I love Goddard. The Chiefs were not great against tight ends at all. That's where the ball was going when teams faced the Chiefs. So I really like Goddard. And of course, I love Kelsey. So I love these tight ends, Bobbywow.
Yeah.
Both sides.
Of course. Yep.
Do you think Goddard is a reasonable captain play at that price?
I absolutely do.
Yeah.
The issue with him is he's approaching 10%. So he, not getting as much of a steal on him ownership wise, leverage wise, but he's great. His price is way too low.
Yeah, and the matchup makes sense for him. The Chiefs. Let me see if this shows on the DraftKings screen. Yeah, see the Chiefs 27th. So it does show there. The Chiefs really were vulnerable, and effectively they gave up a ton of fantasy points to opposing tight ends this season. They did not give up a ton of points to running backs. Like running backs, they gave the second fewest. So you could throw against the Chiefs. Our models all love Jalen Hurts passing yard overs in this game, and it makes sense.
So you're almost seeing this as like a bend don't break type of game where both defenses you're giving up yards all game, but they're not allowing touchdowns essentially.
Yeah, these are good defensive teams. Both teams got here playing defense. The Chiefs, listen, sometimes the Chiefs offense becomes unstoppable. When like Mahomes is grooving, you just can't, it cannot be stopped. And that can happen, but that's not what we saw most of this year. We saw a lot of, bend and then, but really inefficient offense from the Chiefs is the best way I could describe it. These low scoring games, they played great defense. They kind of held the other team. They run it too much. Like, what are you doing?
And that's kind of why I like the over, because you could say the same thing about the Eagles, right? When they get like last week or 2 weeks ago against a very inspired Commanders team that had looked much better defensively, they go out and trounce all over and they put up 55 points. So like these two teams, have what it takes where their offense can get in this mode where they just keep driving down the field and scoring. So yeah,
it's the
I think
Super
we got to
Bowl.
zoom out. We got to zoom out, right? This is one game. This is a Super Bowl matchup here. You got the best players in the world playing, and at the end of the day, to me, that kind of even levels out the playing field a little bit, where the defenses, the elite defenses, maybe, they've had time to scheme offensively, more time to scheme, and maybe we see some offensive production here. But yeah, it's very interesting. These two offenses, like you said, they can get in this mode where it's like, wow, nothing you could do to stop them.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing offenses. Both teams. Listen, I was going to say before, this is the Super Bowl. Of course they're good. Of course it's a good offense. It's we're in the Super Bowl. And yeah, we know who these teams are. We know what the Eagles are going to do. We know the Eagles are going to live and die by the legs of Barkley and Jalen Hurts more often than not. Again, if we think about the game flow of this game, if the Chiefs are able to slow down Barkley, we can really get an edge in this showdown. Barkley's going to be massively owned. He'll be one of the highest owned captains. Understandably, this guy has absolutely destroyed everything. And by the way, and this is really, really important, it's not like even the Eagles, even the Chiefs being very good against that doesn't mean shit in the Super Bowl is what I'm saying. Like
exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Saquon Barkley can still absolutely destroy everything in this game. Your defensive metrics mean nothing. This is a 1-game sample. Saquon has been epic, had the year. I don't even know what it is. He's had a Cinderella year.
And again, I don't think the Chiefs have seen an offensive line like the Eagles yet either. So, +1 in the run to the rush offense there as well.
Yeah. So exactly that. Like, I don't care that the defensive metrics only matter just a smidge here. It doesn't matter that much.
That's what I was the point I was trying to make too.
Yeah, totally agree. So I needed to get that. I'm glad we both said it out loud. So it's important to understand, I don't care. Yeah. Number 1 team, who cares? It's Saquon Barkley. But if we needed reasons to not have him in every single lineup, if we needed some reasons to take it easy, take a breath, breathe in, breathe out, or at least hold some hope that Jalen Hurts outscores him. Could you see Jalen Hurts outscoring Saquon? Hell yeah, I can.
Absolutely.
For a significantly lower price. Sure. We didn't get too much into Kelsey. How do you feel about Kelsey in this game? Is he the top, is he a top captain for you? Could you see Kelsey getting it done?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy that he dudded last week, right? Because he had this stretch in the playoffs where he had, he's put up some insane numbers. Yeah. Averaging 100+ yards and a touchdown with, 9 targets and 8 catches a game over the last 4 years in the playoffs. I think we gotta kind of go right back to him here. I don't see why not. To me, he is the X factor for the Chiefs. They kind of got a little lucky last week, pulled off that win against Buffalo. But usually,
by the way, wait, take me back. I still see the play. I still see the play in my mind. How does Kincaid not catch that pass?
There's absolutely no reason. No excuse. It's terrible.
It hit him in the hand. That was a miraculous throw.
He had plenty of time to adjust. And he put himself in a weird, awkward position and then didn't catch it. Hit him.
You know what he did?
Ugh.
He pulled a Mike Williams.
Oh, geez. Here we go.
All right. The funny question here in the chat, of course. Do we think Kelsey proposes to T-Swizz and becomes, and she makes a man out of him, Travis Swift, at the end of the game? You know what's funny about this? Question is, you can actually bet this. This prop exists on Profit X. And it's plus 900 that he will propose. I do not think he will, but you can bet this at 9-1 odds on Profit X. So promo code Sharp App if you want to check out
your first problem is the Chiefs aren't going to win. That's the first problem. But yeah, even if they do,
are you betting against the Chiefs?
I am. Yeah,
you should not bet against the Chiefs. Just the same way they should have lost to the Bills and they didn't. You should not bet against the Chiefs.
I'll say this: I am one of the last people to talk about conspiracies and to think about, to think that there's something going on here with the Chiefs. But last week, or last game against the Bills, it's hard not to be anymore. It's hard not to say, no, it's all good. It just looks weird. Some of the spots, like the referee spotting the ball, there were like 3 or 4 different times where they like massively impacted possessions, and always against the Bills. So I don't know, man. Yeah, you might be right.
I don't know either. I don't believe in conspiracies either when it comes to football. I don't like to believe in that kind of stuff because I love the purity of the game. So it's hard for me to buy into it, but definitely, the same thing happened with the Patriots. I just think shit happens like that. I don't think the refs are fans of the Chiefs, or the NFL is calling somebody all right, make sure they get here. I just think, listen, superstars get superstar treatment, and Mahomes is the superest of superstars. Right? Could there be anyone more super starry than Mahomes right now?
I mean, Barkley is almost rivaling him at this point. Just, the Eagles feel like there's this narrative around them where it's just their year. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it's just the Barkley hype getting to me, but I think we see another gear from Barkley on Sunday. So I'm hesitant to fade.
There you go. Brandon, where can you bet? It's funny. We covered that in the props. If you click on the link in the description here for the prop show that we did, we discussed this bet, and the site is called Profit X. They have 500 novelty bets for the Super Bowl that you can get in there on. And they're actually giving away a Rolex, for $100 deposit. So for every $100 deposit at that Profit X site, which is an exchange, meaning a peer-to-peer betting site that's legal everywhere, by the way. You could bet all these different crazy Super Bowl props. And that was one of them. It's plus 900. I do not think he's going to propose. I think it would be too cheesy. And plus, wouldn't it be her proposing? Who wears the pants in that family?
T Swift might say no if he proposed at the Super Bowl.
Nah, she won't say no.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Blake Lively and Brandon and Cooper, Ryan Reynolds in the booth. Blake Lively, there's too much pressure at that point. It's like all the celebs are there watching. You got to say yes. They're definitely getting married, Bobbywow. 100%.
I know. It's not going to happen at the Super Bowl, though. I'm 100% confident in that.
Let me tell you another thing about T Swift. The whole single girl thing that she does with all her songs and music, that's cute until you're 37, 38, 39. And now it's time to lock it down. Now let's sing about married life and my daughters.
Let's
all right?
reverse it here.
Yeah, the whole single girl strife breakup song thing. That's good till you're about 32, 33, and then it's enough. Okay, time to get married. Time to pump out some babies, T-Swizz. And if anything, if you're going to pump out some kids, this behemoth of a man is a perfect specimen for that. I like Kelsey. Where do I go with this stuff? What am I talking about? Let's get back to the showdown breakdown. And let's talk about some potential captains. And then we'll build a lineup around one. So Kelsey, really good. Hurts, great. If Kelsey's your captain, do you have to have Mahomes in the flex?
I don't think so. You talked about a game where we're seeing a lot of yardage and a lot of, receptions potentially, but not a lot of touchdowns. Kelsey going, 12 catches, 140 yards and a touchdown, but he's the only one that scores. Mahomes isn't getting in there. No way. All I'm trying to say is there's legitimate scenarios where it's possible. Yes. Where Mahomes isn't in the lineup with Kelsey a captain.
Is it possible that Mahomes is the nuts captain where Kelsey doesn't have a big game?
It might have happened last week.
It did happen, but it was a very bizarre circumstance that caused it, and I want to talk about it. But it's highly unlikely. That's super unusual.
Him having the 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
you'd have to have that again. You know how many times it's happened this year? Once. That was the game.
That is the scenario. That is it. Yeah.
That's the only one. This guy, he's had a couple games where he'll run for 25, 30 yards. Most games, he'll run for some yardage.
I think unlike previous seasons, the Chiefs are perfectly content giving the ball to Kareem Hunt near the end zone. They're not doing these silly plays like we've seen in the past as much. We're not seeing a ton of like end arounds. We're not seeing a ton of, go routes to Kelsey or comeback routes to Kelsey. It's a lot of Kareem Hunt, which has been kind of different this season, but
maybe that was a missing piece for them in the past. But yeah, I mean, he 9 touchdowns. He only played half the season.
I mean, he scored 4 straight. Yeah, he's getting the ball at the goal line. He's not putting up great numbers, but he's scoring touchdowns as of late.
Yeah. Very, very much with Kareem Hunt, very much a touchdown dependent guy. So but he will inversely affect Mahomes as well. Like, to me, if I'm building around Mahomes, I really kind of want to reduce my exposure to Kareem Hunt. So I'll probably
100%.
definitely a sim boost negative rule on that. Any contracting, nothing. By the way, somebody's birthday, Brandon, I think it's whose birthday is it? It's somebody's birthday. The Super Bowl, it might be Saquon's birthday. Does not matter.
It is
Throw that
Saquon's
out.
birthday.
Yeah, it does not matter.
Yet another reason just to smash. I mean,
No, it's not. It means nothing. This is the Super Bowl. No one's fucking around. This is like, we're coming there. You can't be more motivated. My birthday doesn't help me. I'm already at a 10. You cannot do anything else.
Saquon's vibes and his situation. I mean, he just proposed to his fiance, first Super. He's just ecstatic. Like, this might be as close to godliness as any, human being has ever been. Saquon. He's on fire, like in those NBA Heat games. It's just like, it's more about him almost.
Yeah, if somebody's going to get something going, it might be Cooper DeJean.
Oh, Lord have
mercy. That dude gets an interception every week. Plus, that name, by the way, I don't know if you know this. As a friend of Ben and a Philadelphia, an Eagles, honorary fan, as what they call me in Philly. I actually know that they have a term. They use a word called Jean to like describe all kinds of stuff. It's a Philadelphia only word. And this guy's last name is DeJean. It's like too kismet. How did that even happen? Like in Philly, if you say that's a John, they know what that means. Like it has meaning. They didn't reveal to me because I'm not actually from there. They just let me know that it exists. But no one's actually told me how to use the word. But a John in Philly like has meaning. Like, oh man, that cheesesteak was John, bro. DeJean. This is a real thing, Bobbywow. You're looking at me like crazy.
I'm just struggling to buy in because you just admitted you don't know the meaning.
I don't truly know the meaning, but I know that they use the word a lot in Philadelphia.
Okay. That's dangerous. That could be dangerous.
I don't think it means something bad.
That word around. Okay.
Yeah, Kang knows. Yeah, like it's not Dijon mustard. But it's like, they apparently they explained in the Creed movie, which I did not see. I didn't get the explanation. Man, that place is John. It's a John. I just made that up. I have no idea why they use it or how. Barkley's birthday. If you put Barkley, so let's try some practice lineups here, Bobbywow.
One real quick thing. We talked about Mahomes and Hunt. I think as much as it's salary restrictive, Hurts and Barkley are absolutely viable together. It would not shock me at all to see like a longer receiving touchdown for Barkley. And I think we saw it last week or the week before, last game or the game before in the playoffs where they were both in the nuts together because Barkley caught a touchdown.
Yeah. Especially since so much of that offense runs through those two guys.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Philly people stepping up. That John's bad as shit. Like, I can't say it. We say, John, got girl, that John is bad as shit. Like, I still don't know what it means.
Man, I'm sure Philly people are just grimacing at your accent and pronunciations here.
They love my accents. I don't know I thought listen, got a New York accent.
No, I'm just kidding. It's great.
Johnny.
Sounds great.
It's a thing. It's ing for a person, place. It's a. I still don't understand. Like, oh, it's slang. It's slang for a person, place, or thing. So it's a noun? Because I'm pretty sure that's the description of a noun. Like, all right. I'm going to stop.
We got to go back. We got to get back to the stream here.
We got to get back to this. So let's talk about, Hurts and Barkley, acceptable. Mahomes and Hunt, less acceptable. Wagwan. I got one for you, Kaboom. I had to give him a wagwan. Wagwan. I do that in my regular life now because of Kaboom Big Ben. Literally that guy. And now I just walk around. I'm like, I see my family. I'm like, wagwan. They're like, this happens in real life, Bobbywow. Thanks, Kaboom Big Ben. That's your fault.
I need like a button on my desk that's like sends an alert to a flashing red light over you. It says, get back to the stream. Get back to the stream.
You're right. Okay. It's been a while. We haven't
No, it's so good though. I know we need
it.
We need the breaks, but
yeah. Barkley, Hurts, Mahomes, AJ Brown, probably. So I'll give you some metrics from our modeling and all this. And I dived into some prop stuff. Again, the models like Jalen Hurts over passing yardage, which means where is that going to go? Why does it like it? First of all, it's because the Chiefs are the number one rush defense, and the assumption is the way that the modeling works is, all right, it's going to be harder to run. We're going to have to throw the ball more. Fine. Right? So the prime beneficiaries of that, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, who don't always smash. They're really volatile players. Yes. One of the nice things about both of those guys is they have as much upside or more than anybody else in this game. Right? AJ Brown could put up a 30. No problem.
Yep.
In the range. Devontae Smith in the range, a 30. Worthy, a 30. It's all in the range. In a high-scoring game like you described, I think it's those wide receivers or like a Jalen Hurts that is getting it done and putting up the biggest number. Maybe Kelsey.
Man, I think Devonta Smith is this sneaky guy. He keeps coming to mind for me. You know, he had that 2-touchdown game to end the season. Was on a roll, those last couple of games. Yeah. So any of those guys, you're right. They all have the ceiling to take this tournament down.
Monster upside. Yep. Monster upside. So we have to definitely keep them in mind for potential captain plays. So again, since we're diving extra deep into this one, Brown or Smith captain, is Hurts a must in the flex?
No
to that. Okay.
I don't know. I would typically say yes, but the way you've painted this game is you feel like, yardage, receptions, yes, touchdowns, not so much. You need the touchdowns as the quarterback.
Yeah, unless it's Jalen Hurts and you can just get the rushing yards and some of the other stuff.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it's got to be close, right? It's got to be close to a lock.
Maybe not a lock, but
I'll be sim boosting quite a. Yeah,
we'll boost that. That's a boost for sure. That's a boost that we should work with on the optimizer when we're making those lineups. All right, and let's just scroll down one last time here in the cheaper zone, and let's just evaluate everybody who's below the kicker, and give me an idea of some of your favorites. So we got Hopkins, who we said very sketchy at this price based on he's only getting 10 or 12 snaps a game right now. So you have to do a lot with a little. I don't like either defense, Bobbywow. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. You should roster, if you're running out 150 lineups, you should definitely roster them, but I'll be underweight. These quarterbacks just take really good care of the football.
I'm not going to manual click them. Yeah, if it shows up, let Jesus take the wheel, the whole thing. But yeah, I'm not going to manual click on these guys at all. I don't like it.
I think if a defense gets into the nuts here, it's because of a return touchdown, not because of defensive goodness.
Then we have Noah Gray, who is sort of a turd favorite, has not done a ton in the playoffs though. Noah Gray's snap count has suffered primarily because when they added Hollywood Brown from injury And for some reason, Juju Smith-Schuster became like a guy that they play a lot. They stopped needing him. They're playing more 3 and 4 wide sets, and they just don't really, he's just not on the field as much. There was a point earlier in the season where, especially at the beginning of the year, where when Hollywood was hurt and everybody else and Rashee Rice was hurt and they hadn't really figured out their wide receiver group, they were just playing double tight end, and he was doing really well. But that's sort of slowed down a little bit. So I don't know if I love him as much as I have.
And maybe we get to some of these questions at the end. You know, if there's a couple of questions in the chat, maybe we'll roll through, build a lineup, and then we can address some of the questions that work.
I'm going to get squirreled over to those questions again, and we're not going to finish.
But yeah, no, I agree. But I think he's certainly viable still here. You know, we know that he can score touchdowns. He can be an end zone target. So, but yeah, you're right. It has dropped off significantly.
Yeah, he's just not out there as much. And again, he's got a couple zeros in the playoffs. He got a couple of receptions in that Houston. He does play. I mean, he's still the backup tight end. But there was a point where he was really outscoring Travis Kelce in most of these games. So, you know, earlier in the season, if you kind of recall back, 4 targets, 3, he was like kind of doing Travis Kelce things. Here's a 22 burger and an 18. A couple of these games where he had monster scores, was out on the field a ton. So the upside is there, and continued 5 targets, 5. Remember this stretch? I mean, it was crazy. I was like, Noah Gray. But now it's kind of gone back down. I think the return of Hollywood really messed with his. And they also brought in DeAndre Hopkins. Like, they just brought on a bunch of different people to play these roles. Below Gray, we've got Will Shipley, who we were talking about a little off air and came in for the concussed Gainwell. I don't think this is going to be anything.
No.
Yeah.
It's a fun story from last week, but that's where the story ends, at least for this season.
Gainwell took a limited participant, clear the 5-step protocol. He's going to clear the protocol. Assuming Gainwell will clear the protocol, do you like him at all?
Do I like him?
Yes.
No, I don't. I think I really, the only way he ends up in the nuts to me is if Barkley gets hurt.
I agree. There's no reason why the Eagles are bringing him in outside of just a breather for Barkley here or there.
So I guess what I'm saying is I won't. Kenneth Gainwell will not be in a lineup that Barkley is in for me.
Yeah, you might force some for the injury play.
Yep.
So I might slap a 3% min on him and at most one of Barkley and Gainwell rule, and allow that to make me 4 or 5 lineups with Gainwell, just YOLO throwaways. That's about it.
Yeah, 150. Yep, totally agree.
Yeah. The guy I think who's the best guy down here is really Juju Smith-Schuster, and that is so weird.
Far and away. Yep.
Yeah, I think he's the best guy. Juju Smith-Schuster is on the field for 50% of the snaps. He has all of a sudden randomly become this like WR3.
He scored real actual points last week.
Yeah. Was targeted.
His name came up a bunch. I saw him he was all over the field.
Yeah. He was out there. He'll be out there at the Super Bowl.
Like old times, right? Yeah. Tebow time mentioned, he's been there before. Yeah. Mahomes, Juju have done it before.
Absolutely. So Juju Smith-Schuster, to me, everybody wants to know who the turd of this slate is. Who's the turd? Who's the best turd? I think it's him.
Juju's the best turd. Fully agree.
Yeah, there it is.
I do think we need to name a super turd though, because that's almost cheating.
I'll give you 2 now. The only other 2 that I even have any interest in.
Yeah, talk to me.
Number 1 is Jahan Dotson. I know he doesn't catch a pass, but if he catches that one pass, that's enough.
Yes.
One touchdown. That's enough. You won. So this is a turd that can win you the tournament if it goes a certain way. Could it never happen? It can happen. Even in week 19, that one catch got a touchdown. This is a nuts scenario.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to be throwing more than they normally do. The Eagles should be throwing more. So if anybody is going to benefit, it should be the WR3. I want him to be the guy who breaks it. I want to have said it here, and then it happened. Like, I think it's real, that it could really happen, that this guy could catch a pass. Even one reception that's not a touchdown, Bobbywow, might be enough at 1,600.
It might be. Yeah.
Like a 30-yard 4 or 5 pointer.
I think the odds of Juju scoring more points, in a very similar price range are very high. But yeah, Dotson is, I like it. He's explosive.
Yeah. Everything's pointing to more passing from the Eagles. The number 2 run defense, they have to throw it to keep up with these guys.
I got to stop commenting, but it's just still crazy to me. Like 1 week without Hurts against the Giants, and all of a sudden Jahan Dotson is Superman here. But you take that away. I mean, the dude, he doesn't catch any passes. He has averages like 1 target a week, less than 1 catch a week, and he's on the field 60+% of the time every game.
I don't think it makes him bad. I just think the team doesn't throw a lot, and when they do, understand this is not a team that throws the. Jalen Hurts is averaging 20 targets per game. They're not throwing a lot. That's the issue.
That's true too.
If we see an elevated target share in this game, which is what the metrics are predicting, and now Naldo Nation is saying that the offensive coaches for the Eagles are talking about open up the passing game for this. I think they will. I think that makes sense against the game flow, and if that does happen, maybe he gets 2 targets in this one. That could win you the whole thing. And then the other one, of course, is Justin Watson, who has done it before in this role.
Yeah, Tebow time, you're exactly right. It was the scrubs that week, and he led the scrub charge. I'll add one name to your list. I really do think Samaje Perine is in consideration as well. Again, it probably honestly will come down to whether or not there's a 2-minute drill here, because in a 2-minute situation, Samaje Perine can rack up 4 or 5 points in a hurry. So I think Perine is playable as kind of a super turd.
I love it. So for our turd zone plays, we've got Justin Watson in the very, very, very long shot role.
Mm-hmm.
Samaje Perine, probably going to need some 2-minute drill stuff for that to work out. Jahan Dotson, need the miracle Deshaun Jackson bomb touchdown play, but could happen.
Yep.
And then Juju Smith-Schuster being the blue chip turd that is probably the guy that you need to open up affordability, and you hope for an 8 to 10 kind of, you're hoping for something like this, an 8-pointer, some yardage, a miracle touchdown, anything like that in the 8 to 10 fantasy points range. And he's probably going to be at that price, the nut play.
Yeah. And I think he's a better play than Noah Gray for cheaper, for $800 cheaper.
Similar,
better. But I do think he's better, especially with the discount. Yes. Tebow time. I would not play more than 1 turd in a lineup personally. I don't know about you, Kev, but
no double turd for me. I mean, it's like, if you think of the odds of hitting on a turd, it's like 1 in 10, let's say. The odds of hitting on 2 turds, that's 0.1 times 0.1. That is, I don't even know how to math that out. It's a very low number.
The scenario to play 2 turds would be if there's no, solid middling zone here, and we get some really solid value in the middle with guys like Hollywood Brown, Goddard, Devonta Smith. So yeah, no need for more than 1.
You name those 2 players. I think Goddard and Brown are the value guys on this slate.
I'll have a ton of exposure to both. Yes, well over the field. Yeah. Yep.
Both are viable captains, but both are elite flex plays. I love especially Goddard because of the matchup and how favorable it is to tight ends on the Eagles, right? So you get him in there. Maybe you plug in both these guys in your lineup. Like as I'm building a lineup here, it's either I'm thinking either a Hollywood Brown or one of these kickers. And Harry Butker is far and away a better kicker than Elliott. Elliott hasn't hit a 50-yarder all season. He's been missing kicks. And my friend DFS up north, who could not be with us today, told me that when a kicker starts missing kicks, you stay the hell away. They don't straighten it out.
The yips. Yeah, the yips are real with kickers.
Yeah. He's mostly missing 50-yard field goals. He's been fine. I wouldn't call it the yips. He just can't hit the 50.
Oh, okay. So just the long range.
Yeah, he just is not good at hitting 50 over 50 this year. Yeah. I think he's 0 for 7 and 51 plus.
I think Hollywood Brown, to me, would be the tournament guy, no doubt about it, over Butker here.
Yeah. So like for the upside.
Yep.
I haven't even made a captain yet. I'm just what I'm putting together here as I start to build a lineup. Let's get our value guys in there, right? And then I'm going to show you how you could just make a million different versions of this. You just kind of start with this as a baseline, right? We can play it around whoever we want.
Yeah, is Hurts or Barkley a captain?
Yeah, you can go with Hurts here.
Let's go Hurts.
I can get Mahomes in there and AJ Brown. Like, you could do something like that, a no Saquon Barkley lineup.
And that's exactly why turds won't necessarily be relevant. Yeah. Because look, you got $1,600 left, and you have a very solid lineup. You know,
and that's with Hurts, the most expensive guy.
Well, Barkley's more expensive.
Or yeah, or I mean, I could almost fit Barkley in there too. But that's just with a Barkley fade, and this one doesn't even have a Kelsey. But my point was is that as a captain, that's a really expensive captain. I could also get Kelsey in here with Mahomes. You might want to I could switch this around. Look, 3,700 left over. This takes me off the turd over here. We can get up to Worthy, or I was hoping to get to Hurts, so that, something like that. There are,
yeah.
I mean,
you go Watson.
Don't love it, but or I would get rid of Mahomes here. If
that's a Millie lineup. That's a silly for the Millie lineup to me.
A lot of versions built right around that core value play where you go little Juju. Now, I like Goddard more than I like Juju overall. There's a reason why one guy.
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah. Like, I don't want to have everything built. Like, I don't want to have too many of this guy. Juju's a turd as well.
It's a turd.
Yeah. But take a look at it. Like, we could kind of go through the who's who of potential captain plays. Like, what if we went with like a Devontae Smith captain?
I love it.
Hurts in there as well. And now I can afford whoever I want. I can get to Barkley if I wanted. I don't want to do that, but if I did that in this one, I could. You know, look how much salary's left over. I can get rid of Juju. You don't even need it. If we play a cheaper captain, you don't even need Barkley in there. Play Kareem Hunt. Go down here and just get Hollywood in there, and then get Kareem, Mahomes.
Kareem Hunt's the guy. I think we'll see his ownership even lower than what's projected. He's the unsexy play here.
Why do you think it's so bad? Because Philly's so great against the run also?
No, I don't think there's anything bad about the play. I think he's just not sexy. You know, it's the ugly running back situation. You know, in people's heads, there's 3 running backs there who get playing time. And, you know, Kareem Hunt is not a sexy play, but I think he's the forgotten guy maybe in some of these lineups. So especially with Mahomes, lineups without Mahomes, I'll have Kareem Hunt in a good amount of lineups that Mahomes is not in.
I like this prop, Anthony. Yeah, I like it. Plus 1,000, I'll take that. Harry Butker nails 55 yarders like it's nothing.
Yep.
Harry B, no doubt. I love that. I would do that. I think that's a reasonable one without having metrics or anything in front of me. So a lot of different possibilities here. Let's just talk real quick, Bobbywow, about are there any captains here where we feel like we have to make really special rules? If I'm playing Mahomes, for example, let's talk about the rules we're making for Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm lock buttoning him with 2 pass catchers. No? Kelsey almost has to be with Mahomes.
Let's look again. I hate the lock because last week was a perfect example. I know it's very rare, but you don't win last week's. You don't take it down with Mahomes a captain if you lock in 2 wide receivers, 2 pass catchers. You just don't.
That was last week, though. This is this week.
No, I know. I'm just saying that is why I avoid the word lock.
I know. Yeah, you hate the locks. You hate locking things in. I don't. I like to make rules, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I do like to lock things in. But yes, that rule absolutely would have led you to not winning last week because he ran for 2. I don't remember Mahomes ever running for 2. It's so rare that he's running for touchdowns. It's not part of his normal game.
But again, we just saw it last week. So I will sim boost the heck out of, with Mahomes in the lineup, boost wide receivers and tight ends by 20%, 25%. But yeah, no, I make the case for locking too, for sure.
Yeah, I like it. With Hurts, I don't feel like I need any sort of stack. Except for the sim boost. I will have that, but I don't feel like Hurts has to be there with one of Smith, Goddard, or I think it's better.
Probably, but I even think if your only Eagles in your lineup are Hurts and Barkley, I think that's fine too.
There we go. So no hard rule for Hurts. I will
Mahomes captain. I will decrease using the sim boost. I'll decrease the projection for running backs or for Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco by a significant number.
Okay.
Because I don't know that those guys score well while Mahomes gets there at captain.
That's fair. Again, the sim boost is found here, and the way that would look would be if QB is in lineup, increase wide receiver, tight end, same team, let's say 15%. Then you'd add a statement here, decrease projection for player. So if I was doing it specific to the player, because you don't want P Ryan down. So
exactly.
You'd say Hunt. And are you going to play any Pacheco?
He'll be unowned. I'll have a couple shares, but his price is even odd. Like he should be lower priced than 5,200 for me. The kickers are priced below him.
What if they changed their mind and all of a sudden Pacheco's the guy?
Or Hunt gets hurt, or anything's on the table. You definitely want some shares in 150, but there's really no objective, stat-based reason to play Pacheco.
And let's also keep in mind the same with Hunt. He's run into the same situation as Barkley. The Eagles are great and have been spectacular versus the run this year. They've stopped everyone. No one's been able to run the football against them. So I do think also Hunt is more sketchy of a play, and all of these running backs, there's a reason why he's going to be lower owned.
The thing is, Hunt has pass catching ability. We've seen 10 targets in games this season. So if they are forced to check down or dump off, Hunt will be the guy, like 7 and 10.
Wouldn't that be interesting if the way Hunt gets there is catching 6 or 7 passes, and we're all like, he doesn't catch a pass, and then he gets out there and does it.
Yeah, he's done it before. I mean, again, if I'm playing any running backs from KC, it's primarily Hunt with a little bit of P Ryan. I think Hunt's a better play than the ownership will show. I guess at the end of the day, I want to be a little bit overweight on him. I think he'll end up being like 15%. He'll be too low owned once things lock up.
Okay, I like it. Any other thoughts here on DraftKings? Do you want to move on and talk a little FanDuel?
Yeah, I guess all the other rules, are really tiny tweaks. So I think I'm good moving on. Do we want to talk through questions quick from Tebow?
Yeah. There was a question here. So was Tebow Time asking about like 3 max and what captains to use?
Let's see.
What was the question? Said, here it is.
Captain strategy B for 3 max contest. All one captain, or would you do multiple?
Yeah. For me, if I'm putting 3 lineups in there, I'm probably using 3 different captains.
Yep. Yeah, I'm thinking of those as 3 single bullets in my mind, even though it's 3 max.
Yeah, I'm using 3 different guys. And I'll probably take a Jalen Hurts. My favorite captains, I think Saquon is so expensive that it's going to be difficult for him to get there. He's not going to be on my favorites list, although I'll certainly have some exposure there. But I think the best way to try to win a contest is catching like a Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, pass catcher, getting a big game rather than the more expensive quarterback or running back. What do you think, Bobbywow?
Yeah, probably.
And I'd even add AJ Brown and especially Devontae Smith to that list. Like I'd rather have a pass catcher.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah, and we can focus in on these quarterbacks right here on FanDuel. Like that's where they're better. So might as well focus in on them there, right? So let's go to the Dom station for FanDuel, and we'll kind of get a look at what some of these ownerships look like, if that's all right.
Let's do it.
And let's see what we're talking about here for FanDuel and some of these ownerships. So, yeah, here we go. MVP position on FanDuel sorted by ownership, and we have Mahomes at the top of the list, followed by Hurts, and then Barkley. So it's just those 3, and then the drop off is crazy. Nothing else.
It will take a lot. It will take a lot for someone else to end up as the MVP. I think your odds are better of going crazy with turds and just going only 3 MVPs with Barkley, Mahomes, and Hurts than you are trying to find another guy that's going to score, well at MVP. That to me would be the approach.
Take note of this.
Take a tournament down.
Yeah, totally agree. And take note of this. FanDuel priced down the quarterbacks here in a weird way.
Yes.
And so FanDuel set this up so you could play Mahomes and Hurts in every single lineup that you play this week. Both of them.
And you probably should.
Well, I mean, you're going to have to sacrifice Barkley. Basically, it's those two or Barkley in every line. Like, you have to sacrifice. Can't get it all. But let's say you made a lineup, right? Hurts, then Mahomes, because he's a quarterback. 10-8 left. Let's see how this lineup comes together. So, of course, yeah, we like Brown. Kelsey's great. Love Kelsey. Worthy's been really good. Devontae. You got the starting running back, Dallas Goedert, who's been really, really good. Brown.
Yeah, Goedert at 10K is probably my first pull here.
I'm trying to see if there's anybody under 10K to allow this to all work. That's not a kicker. Defense is at 8.
Juju again. One guy we haven't talked about is D-Hop. Maybe he catches a touchdown here. That's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Could get it done. I mean, he's turd worthy, but don't expect much. He's only.
But he is a turd. Yes.
Yeah, he's only on the field 10, 15 plays, or that's what he's been. But I think this lineup is relatively simple. Actually, yeah. I could play Hunt, and I like it. That's fine. Goddard, sure. Could play. I love Kelsey. You want to get him in there. 10-5. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah, I don't love Hunt with Mahomes, but both in the flex, fine. Hunt, yeah.
Hunt and if you got rid of Hunt, okay, no problem. You could go with Brown or a kicker, so you got Brown and the kickers there at that level. Super easy. Could also go, switch it around instead of, you could get rid of Kelsey and get Devontae Smith in there or do some other, get rid of Goddard. We could probably get to AJ Brown and then kind of turn it up on the last spot with a Noah Gray or Juju Smith-Schuster. So to me, this lineup builds itself. I really like the look here on FanDuel. I think it's very simple. I think the negative on FanDuel right now, as I look at it, is there are going to, like, if this goes this way, the tie group is going to be crazy.
It is. Yep.
All right. I'm going to make a recommendation here on FanDuel. There's no point in building lineups that look like this.
If you're trying to win a tournament, no point. If you're in
just not gonna make any money. Like if I put in 10 lineups like this and I have to tie for first place, this lineup looks real sexy. I mean, this contest looks real sexy and 100,000 the first, but you're probably looking at 25-35 way tie at bare minimum.
Oh, at least. Yeah. Look, I think with having to choose between, two of the three quarterbacks and Barkley, that provides enough disparity in single entry to make it worth entering with that type of lineup. But not in tournaments, no way. Like you can't build like that.
I'd rather single entry play maybe here, where at least you have a shot if you put a nice one together of soloing like a 250 person contest,
exactly,
350 person contest, and maybe focus the MME for DraftKings. Chris Hernandez is asking, who's the cheapest captain that we would play on DraftKings?
Juju.
You're going to go that far and play him as a captain?
I guess I should this is like 150 lineup play. If I'm maxing out 150 lineup contest,
yeah, you'll do that.
That I'll have 5, 6, 7 Juju lineups in there for sure.
For me, I think it's probably Hollywood. I think that 5K level is fine. Goddard, Hollywood, those two guys are the ones that really stand out for me. As I'll click that a lot, and I'm going to be clicking on Smith, all these pass catchers.
That trio, Goddard, Hollywood, and Smith, I think should be the main targets at captain on tournaments. Yeah,
but again, looking at FanDuel, I don't know how you build all that different from this approach. So maybe Kelsey doesn't get the touchdown, or maybe it's not the game for AJ Brown. Fine. But you can kind of switch these things around and it just builds itself. Instead of Brown, you put in Devontae Smith. Okay, whatever. A little Hollywood or a kicker in the last spot, little Harry Butker. I mean, I could do this all day.
You want to take down a tournament on FanDuel, you're probably building a no QB lineups, right? Where you've got Saquon and Kareem Hunt as the headliners in your lineup, and then some, peripheral guys mixed in. But again,
I can't handle that. I would not do that.
I'm just saying, if you're trying to get silly on FanDuel for whatever reason, that's probably maybe the best way to do it, and it's still gross.
What a horrible watch that would be, the Super Bowl, if neither quarterback has a great game. Like what a boring, horrible watch this game would be. The last thing I want to see during the Super Bowl is like a defensive battle. But I think that's what we're going to see a little bit of.
That's what I'm saying. If you're going to build Contrarian, that's probably the Contrarian build. But I hate it.
What gets the ladies in the Super Bowl party looking at the screen and watching?
Taylor Swift.
That's it?
That's it. No, I'm not limiting them to that, but
that's the prime thing. No, they'll watch if the game's exciting. But if it's a boring, low-scoring game.
What's the halftime show again? I'm blanking. Is it Kendrick Lamar?
I have no idea.
Jeez.
Guys, what's the Super Bowl halftime show this year?
While you tell us, I want you to throw your favorite halftime show in the chat. Favorite Super Bowl halftime show of all time.
Guys, I like this. What's your favorite, Bobbywow?
Mine is U2. They did a September 11th tribute, and it was awesome.
Oh yeah. Okay.
They came out, did my favorite song, "Where the Streets Have No Name." Oh man, it was so good.
Mine was J-Lo.
Really? Oh God.
Made me uncomfortable what she was wearing, and there were so many there was children in the room. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on here? Why are they showing this on screen? This is inappropriate.
That was crazy.
It was inappropriate.
Purple Rain. That's my second. That was a great one. Purple Rain.
They not like us. They not like us. Prince did Purple. I didn't watch this. I have to tell you, I really enjoyed the Katy Perry one. And I'm not like a Katy Perry fan or anything.
No, it was
good. I thought the show was really good that they did for that one. I just enjoyed it.
Even like Rihanna, the stuff they can do now to make things just look visually appealing and insane is off the charts. It just gets better and better every year.
Dude, the fact that Michael Jackson did a halftime show, first of all, how far back do you go, Tony T? Was that in 1988? When did that happen?
I don't think it was that far back.
Michael Jackson?
Was it? I was had to have been 1993. So not that
Janet,
much.
Had me naked by the end of this song.
God.
Oops. Remember that one, Janet?
Yes. Who was that? Justin Timberlake? I can't remember who was
JT
with her
and Janet Jackson.
JT. Yeah, okay.
That was awesome.
Good stuff. Yeah, these are great. I love the chat's favorites here. This is good.
And then they were like, we can't do that anymore. And they bring in the Who the next year because they're like, we need to go a different way.
We got to cleanse our palates. We got to cleanse the palates a little bit.
Yeah, the palate cleanser is bring in the classic rock band. Bring the Who in. Oh, it was Jackson 5. Whoa. 1992.
Wow.
Tony T doesn't realize how long ago 1992 was. I was a sophomore in high school.
I was a 2-year-old toddler. No, I was a 1-year-old, 1.5.
Bobbywow was just born. Nirvana was a new discovery in 1992. Smells Like Teen Spirit came out. Oh, grunge. We love grunge. 1992. What a time. I don't remember that Super Bowl halftime show. That's too long, too far back.
Too far back.
Kendrick Lamar and who? Is Kendrick Lamar enough? Do enough people know Kendrick songs? I know the diss track. I like him. I know some of his songs, but is he widely known?
I think so. The generation, the current generation, I think is Kendrick. There's a lot of Kendrick love.
He's the best. Okay.
He is I think he's one of the more likable choices, in terms of looking at this current generation.
I could go for some 50 Cent up there. I like 50 Cent.
He wasn't he on with Eminem and Snoop?
Oh,
those guys?
Was he part of that one? That was an awesome show.
Yeah.
You know what? You just reminded me. That was one of my favorites of all time with Eminem and Dre. That was great. Oh yeah. How did I forget that? I'm talking Katy Perry. Fuck, that one was awesome.
I mean, you gotta love the Shark.
The Weekend one was pretty good. Scott Haber, leaving salary on the table, FanDuel, good way to differentiate. Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, the best scenario, you should absolutely be forcing it. Like the best case scenario, let's say you're in this spot. It's much better. Like, don't want to kind of click on this is going to be owned by 1 million people because it just cleans it. You might want to just scroll down and like, yeah, you know what? Jahan Dotson. This is a no one will have it kind of lineup where you can
take. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. I mean,
I was going to say you could still play the 2 quarterbacks in a scenario like this. You're leaving a ton of money. No one will have it. No one's going to play Jahan Dotson when they don't need to. No one's going to play Juju Smith-Schuster when you don't need to. Those buttons will not click. So yes, that is the way to win one of these, I think. What do you think, Bobby?
Agree. Fully agree. I think my strategy, because it's hard for my brain to choose someone that's lower priced, I'll, for the last 2 spots, I'll say, okay, here's the guy I could roster. Scroll down. Who down here could legitimately outscore him? And, I'll scroll down, and that's how I'll select that spot. AJ Brown. Okay, well, we could see Devonta outscore him, and now there's $4,500 left in the lineup, and it's different. It gets different that way. So yes, that's right.
I love it. I'm being told to let everybody know that NASCAR is back at DFS Army. I love NASCAR, Bobbywow.
This is the Super Bowl right here. NASCAR this is a specialty.
As far as DFS Army sports that we cover, I would say NASCAR is the sharpest and the biggest edge. It's almost like a second income where everything else is tough. NASCAR is almost a second income situation. That's it. Not quite. Listen, let's not go crazy, but it really is. No one really compares. And my favorite of all the races is Daytona, which is the first one. So that's next week. The NASCAR package DFS Army is spectacular. Cheat sheets for every single race. There's 3 of them every weekend. So it's not just one. There's a truck. They're all coverage, Xfinity truck, cheat sheets, ownerships, projections, notes, all completely custom. No other site has any kind of access to this, especially the research station, practice times, data that no one else has. We're scraping it from the television. Taco's got scrapers everywhere.
Yeah, the coaches. I mean, the coaches are unreal. Fun fact that no one cares about. My first kind of experience with DFS Army was because of NASCAR.
Really? I didn't even know that.
My first exposure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think 14, we had tons of members on the Clash last week, all tied for first place. It was a pretty chalky race, but we had a ton of first place ties, more helmets at the top. So much more of that's coming. So if you guys are interested in Daytona, you're NFL subscribers, you're not on the VIP plan, that's okay. You can get NASCAR promo code Daytona up until Daytona. So you have about a week to sign up for this code Daytona, and you get the monthly for 20% off. So promo code Daytona, it is the best. It is the best off-season sport, in my opinion.
That's the thing for me. Yeah. This period, like until baseball starts up again, is one of the most depressing sports.
But you're not a basketball
times
guy.
In my life. I'm not a huge NBA guy. No.
Yeah.
And that's great too. And hockey's revving on, all that hockey's awesome right now.
The hockey goons are just going crazy in DFS Army right now. They've been doing a great job this year.
But NASCAR has helped bridge the gap because football, it's helped bridge the gap between, the break and then baseball and football. So
yeah,
it's been my savior in that way.
I love it. So yeah, NASCAR is awesome. So again, I highly recommend. I'm there. I do the podcast with Taco a lot of time for NASCAR. I am in the chat. I am sharing my thoughts, my notes. And you're like, hey, what does this bonehead from Brooklyn know about NASCAR? Well, you know what? I didn't know anything until DraftKings dropped it in 2016, but I've been enjoying it for the last 9 years. And I think I got it figured out. So NASCAR is absolutely one of my favorites. So again, promo code Daytona, check it out. Bobbywow, man, it has been a spectacular season. One of my favorite things that I literally do all season is I get to hang out with you, Bobbywow, on these shows all throughout the year. And it's for me, it's one of my favorite things of the year. I look forward to it. I think we have the best chat and the group of commenters here that come in live. Yes. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys, man. We appreciate it. We wouldn't do that. That's why we're here. DFS Army doesn't exist without you guys coming, subscribing, hitting a like, doing all that stuff, but being a part of the team, being a part of our community. Yeah, so I want to thank everybody for that.
And I'm not kidding. Most people would think it's the silliest thing. I do get genuinely sad, when football season ends because I miss the engagement, the interactions with everybody, and, you know, doing these pods with you guys. So yeah, it's definitely a special thing. And, you know, every year reminds me how grateful I am for it. And let's finish strong with the Super Bowl and start looking forward to the next season with the Bears, you know, as Super Bowl champs.
Might have to switch up that quarterback. A couple other notes for the offseason here. So, of course, we're going to be, so stick around. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're going to have a lot of best ball content coming out. It takes me about a month to recover from the season. I'm keeping it real. There'll be nothing for about 3 or 4 weeks football related. I need to mentally refresh, but give it about a month or so. We're going to start hammering some best ball content out. We've discovered some amazing best ball players in the chat, and as part of our team that we're going to be doing a lot of shows with, talking to, and hopefully getting a lot of their insights. So we have just, again, discovered some Ray, who's crushing it in best ball, like $100,000 winner in the underdog contest. He's been DMing me. He's already got like 80 lineups built for I
love it.
I'm like, you're drafting they have them now, the pre-draft best ball. He's drafting like crazy. So we have a lot of that going on. We're going to be doing that in the off season quite a bit. And of course, I started the show, Bobbywow, called Not Financial Advice, which I will keep going. If you want to check it out, it's really good. It's very simple rules for how to become wealthy in life. And it's just a lot of lessons that I've learned over the years. I'm almost 50. I've gone through it and I've made a lot of mistakes. I want to set everybody on the right path. So if you want to check that out, it's called Not Financial. I'll do like maybe once every month or so, a follow-up. But the first one was really like how to invest and why you should be doing it, and and why I can guarantee you that if you do it exactly as I described in that video, you will become a millionaire in time. So it is a foolproof strategy that works. This is finance school, everything 101. But you need somebody reminding you all the time, and that's what I'm going to do. These are simple things that everybody should know, but most people don't know, and I don't know why. It's upsetting. Well,
and someone willing to be vulnerable, about how they learned, what mistake they made, or what they wish they did. That's really the key for me. That's why I like it.
I've made the mistakes. I'm like, dude, I wish somebody was on me telling me these things when I was 25, because today I would be so much further along than I am. You know how many stupid. I'll save that for that show, but good. Check that out. So we'll be doing a lot of stuff here on the DFS Army YouTube channel in the off season as well. And of course, NBA, MMA, you'll see me on some of those podcasts on the MMA team. Love UFC, NASCAR, PGA, NHL, all kinds of stuff going on. We have a ton happening here at DFS Army. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification. Don't forget about us. And a reminder, I want to send out my appreciation to everybody who watches this stream, who watched our crazy videos, who laughed with us, who get the humor at times. Get that Bobbywow, even though he might look uncomfortable when I'm saying my crazy shit, he loves Kev. Don't worry about it.
I do.
It's all good.
Oh, that's funny.
We're not going to be unburdened by what has been or any of that stuff. All right. I won't get into it. But so thank you guys all for being here with us all season long. I can't say it enough. We'll see you guys in the chat, part of the community. And of course, helmets up for the Super Bowl. Enjoy, everybody. We'll see you next time.